There's a saying in the movie business: tell me a fact and I'll learn. Tell me the truth and I'll believe. But tell me a story and it will live in my heart forever. Well, the story of Marlin Briscoe is one that should never be forgotten. 40 years ago, as a rookie with the Denver Broncos, Marlin Briscoe became the first African-American quarterback to start a modern professional football game. Marlin was a pioneer, he was a trailblazer, but that trail was filled with many obstacles, both professional and personal. And that's what makes his story meaningful and worth telling. Although Briscoe set a rookie record for quarterbacks with 14 touchdowns, the exciting, elusive player they nicknamed the Magician had to deal with pro football's inherent prejudice against black quarterbacks. And despite his record-setting rookie season, Briscoe never started another game at quarterback. He went on to become a wide receiver and earned 2 Super Bowl rings with the Dolphins, but then descended into drug addiction and despair. Marlin's eventual comeback was as dramatic as any down-to-the-wire football game, and his story is one of the most inspirational in NFL history.
Growing up in the racially divided projects of South Omaha, a young Marlin Briscoe was given a magic box that would forever change his life.
When I was around 9 or 10 years old, this bully used to chase me home. And my mother got tired of this bully chasing me home, so she told my cousin Bob about the situation. So he came by the house, and he said, I'm gonna come back over here tomorrow, and when I leave, you're never going to run from anybody again. So he brought over this box full of footballs and basketballs and baseballs, and they were all dusted with old equipment. And one by one, he taught me how to play each one of those sports, including boxing.
With the help of the magic box, Marlin gained the confidence he needed to survive and learn the fundamentals of baseball, basketball, and of course, football. With visions of Johnny Unitas in his head, Marlin would run football drills in his front yard, throwing the ball in the rain and the snow. A natural and dedicated athlete, Marlin played quarterback from his days in the Pop Warner League to Omaha South High School and Omaha University. In 1968, he was drafted to play not quarterback, but defensive back for the Denver Broncos. At the prophetic advice of Omaha University coach Al Caniglia, who knew Denver was only one of a few professional teams to hold an open training camp, Marlin negotiated a 3-day tryout at quarterback. After that, he said, I'll start tackling people.
They had like 8 quarterbacks in camp, and you get your long range, short range, and medium range throws. So they would get 10, and I was always the one on the tail end, and I would not get 10 throws. I knew it wasn't going to be a level playing field, but nevertheless, I prepared myself for that, both physically and mentally, and made sure that all of the throws that I did get, that I did the best that I could do.
Although he wasn't given the opportunity to play quarterback at the time, Marlin would soon find himself in a position to make history. On September 29, 1968, Broncos head coach Lou Saban summoned Briscoe from the sidelines in the fourth quarter against the Boston Patriots. Starting quarterback Steve Tinsey was out with an injury, and the backup wasn't performing. With his first play, Marlin completed a 22-yard pass and nearly pulled off a fourth quarter comeback. The next week, on October 6, 1968, Marlin made history as the first starting black quarterback in professional football. Marlin set a rookie record with 14 touchdowns that season and was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year. But he wasn't even allowed to compete for the starting quarterback position the next year. That 1968 season with the Broncos would be the first and last time Marlin would play quarterback. Marlin was released by the Broncos and returned to Omaha jobless. The writing was on the wall, and Marlin knew that to continue playing professional football, he needed to change positions. So he trained as a wide receiver, a position he had never played before, and went on to become an all-pro wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. He led Buffalo in touchdown catches in each of his 3 seasons there, and in total receptions twice. Legendary coach Don Shula, seeing his athleticism, traded a first-round draft pick to bring Marlin to the Miami Dolphins, where he earned 2 Super Bowl rings and was an integral member of the only NFL team in history to go undefeated. He then went on to play for the San Diego Chargers, Detroit Lions, and New England Patriots before completing his professional football career in 1976. Marlin moved to LA to begin his post-football career as a broker. He found that things came a little too easy. He had no hurdles to jump, no adversity to overcome. His life began to tailspin and led him down a path of addiction, despair, and, on several occasions, nearly death.
I moved out to California, I wasn't a big city kid, and I didn't really realize the pitfalls of making bad choices in terms of friends and where you hang out. And, I was always conscientious as a player, getting in shape, staying in shape, and, invest my money and all that stuff. So I did that. But when I got to LA, I kind of let my guard down. All of a sudden, I didn't have to get in shape. I didn't have to be disciplined. I could let my guard down in terms of partying a little bit, more than I used to. And so, at first, we were having fun. I was having fun. But that fun turned into something else, It turned into a bitter addiction that I never thought would take me out like that.
Over the course of the next decade, Marlin battled a drug addiction that left him homeless and penniless. After leaving a San Diego jail in 1990, Marlin decided to turn his life around. He returned to LA and began teaching and coaching football at a high school in California. Years later, he became a volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club in Long Beach, California, where he now serves as director. Marlin is a mentor to the youth and uses his life experience to help guide them.
It's not only about drugs, too. It's about being anybody that you want to be, not letting somebody tell you what you can or cannot do. So there are a lot of messages out there, that I've experienced. I tell them that, even though you do positive things, you do things that merit certain opportunities, sometimes those opportunities are denied, but you can never give up. You got to be persistent in life and face these challenges. And, even when things don't go right, you got to stand up to those challenges and make them, and hopefully they'll turn around in your favor.
In June 2006, West Omaha Films announced a plan to make a movie based on the rise and redemption of Marlin Briscoe, tentatively titled The Magician. Marlin's story is not only one that speaks to sports enthusiasts and football fans, but to anyone who has faced adversity and overcome the odds. 4 decades have passed since the magician broke the colored barrier in professional football. His story is as captivating now as it was then. In recent years, Marlin has gained widespread attention from national media outlets including ESPN, the New York Times, and the Denver Post. In 2006, Nike launched a widely popular football apparel campaign based on a fictional high school football team, the Briscoe High Hawks. The campaign featured Marlin and other high-profile players and coaches. In 2007, Marlin was featured in ESPN's book and DVD entitled Third and a Mile, The Trials and Triumphs of the Black Quarterback. That level of attention, combined with Marlin's character and reputation, positions The Magician for Hollywood success. NFL Films and Nike already have expressed interest in working with West Omaha Films, and the movie's website has welcomed thousands of unique visitors. Interest in Marlin's story has reemerged after 40 years and is poised to stand the test of time.